There's been rioting in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, for a guy who, let's say, doesn't deserve it. Like most of them. Ricardo Munoz was shot by a police officer when he was trying to stab that police officer. Why people are rioting about this, I don't know. But actually, Ricardo has a history of stabbing people. Imagine having a history like that. In 2019, he stabbed 4 people, including a teenager. So the real travesty in this whole case is that he was out roaming the streets to begin with. He stabbed his victims multiple times. That's attempted murder. To be taken in by police in that incident, he had to be tased because he refused to cooperate. And yet this is a guy who was walking the streets. Now, court records show that he originally was held in prison on a $1 million bail. And so he was literally held. But then he was released this past June. His bail was suddenly changed to non-monetary status. In other words, they just let him go. I can't seem to find out why they just let him go, but my guess would be probably under the guise of fighting the virus. Who knows how many people will be killed by people like him who were released prematurely, because there happens to be a virus going around. It's horrendous. Now, the most recent event that resulted in his death occurred the day before his trial for his previous stabbings. So I do wonder if it's not really a coincidence, and instead he had the mentality, basically, I'm going to go down killing some police. Now, if Black Lives Matter supporters actually gave a damn about black lives, they'd be trying to prevent such people from being released. That would be the sort of justice reform that they'd actually be seeking. Keeping people like him off the streets. Because violent crimes usually strike poor black communities. So if you wanted to do something about, black lives and people dying prematurely, that's something you could do. Actually deal with the people who are committing the crimes. And it's not white cops. In fact, in this particular case, the officer retreated. He ran. And then he turned around. You could see that the guy was there with the knife, still charging at him. And that's when he shot. I mean, I can't think of a more clear-cut case of self-defense on the part of the officer. And it's still not enough. Still they riot. Because the rioters now don't even want police to be able to defend themselves. That's actually how much their rhetoric has changed. It went from police officers are hunting the streets looking for young black men to murder. Now it's police officers shouldn't be able to shoot anybody unless they're white. No matter what the circumstance. I mean, they're basically rioting because the criminal died instead of the cop that he was trying to kill. I mean, they're literally turning any knife-wielding lunatic who happens to be brown into a martyr for their cause at this point. That's the way they're going. Fortunately, though, in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, the judge just set a $1 million bail for some of these rioters. And suddenly, the rioting seems to have stopped. How about that? Now that they know they can't get back out and riot the very next day or have charges dropped and so on, it changes things. The riots actually stop. When people are willing to, enforce the law, the riots stop. This should be an indication of what other cities like Portland and Seattle ought to do, but they already know this. They already know that if they kept the real criminals, people burning down businesses and homes, using Molotov cocktails against police, if they kept those people behind bars, then they wouldn't have to worry about them the very next night. It doesn't take a genius. They already know all of this. They're just ignoring it most of the time. And I'm really glad to see that for the first time in recent memory, well, these people haven't been released to continue doing what they have been doing. Wait, if you enjoyed that video, please remember to like and share. I can't grow without you. Also, if you want to be reliably notified of new videos, don't forget to subscribe to the newsletter. If you're able to support the production of these videos, I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe at Subscribestar, or maybe get one of the healthier products, or even get some merch.